Eric Berrios. I do brand strategy and message management primarily for middle market service and manufacturers. My background is in agency work, but right now it's pretty much exclusively on the brand strategy side. So I think each one of you hit on like a major part that I wanted to talk about today, and it is boring and it is old, but it's back to positioning. And it used to be when we would do a brand strategy, my role was always doing the written argument of why we're doing this, what our basis is, where we're going to be, where we fit in the world, and we always wrap up with, and here's our position. It's not sexy. It just describes where you on the chessboard, what piece you have in the moment, and what the competing pieces in the chessboard are threatening or offering an opportunity. It was fine, and I have to say, 10 years ago, you would do that exercise every 5 years. At best, companies didn't really change that much. Within the past 5 years, the middle market has been changing so much. And I think a lot of it has to do with, advents around lead generation, AI, social media, that the executive suite, the best word I could describe is they fidget in ways that you just never saw before. And I think, Rick, you alluded to this, or Dan, you alluded to this, that, executives, and then Kristen has said this before, where they'll see one thing happening and think like, well, we should change. Like, what are you talking about? That's no, we should not change. You should hold the center, affect the fringes, but basically have a bulwark on the hill that is defendable and strong. So my suggestion for today is I don't I don't think we change the idea of the practice around positioning and brand, but I think we change how we think about it. I've always said this for 20 years. I consider myself a brand therapist. And I had a client years ago, nicest guy in the world. He would tell me that after like walking out, he'd like, oh, I feel like I've been on the couch for an hour. And like, you know what? I think the brand should be on the couch for an hour and we should talk about this. And I think what's happening is because of the speed and the magnitude of communication and the changes in the economic outlooks, it's just becoming harder to hold the center for middle market. And I think where we look at position where it used to be persistent and enduring for a period of time, I think it's going to have to be something that goes back to the well over and over again, almost to the point of like conflating purpose and position and having it up there that you can just point at the wall and say, that's where we are. Did this change? Are we off our spot? Are we no longer a bishop in the middle of the table, able to move around? Or, are we a pawn at the end of the row getting to be a queen? So my tip to this is I think rethinking how we as marketers think about the practice, it's becoming much more of an organic, ongoing nutrition than what used to be a crash diet.